Are there organised and vocal groups of detransitioners, parents of trans youth, and or trans widows in your country?
As far as I know, there are no organized groups like that in Russia at the moment. Instead, some media, they try to normalize the idea that kids could be transgender. Mostly, of course, liberal-oriented, pro-West media, they tried to persuade parents that it's normal. They put some tutorials how to understand that your kid is transgender. Well, more conservative media, they instead tell about all the dangers related to this to transitioning. Anyway, I found one interesting case in our media. It is related to a divorce situation. So after divorce, ex-husband made the transitioning, and his ex-wife claimed in court to cut him from the kids. So she didn't want their kids to communicate with this trans-identified woman. So now this case is in European Justice Court, and I don't know the result. So I believe that the woman is protecting her kids from husband, because she doesn't know what to expect now from him, and maybe there obviously were some reasons why they divorced, but now there is this case could be very meaningful, because European Justice Court, what it decides, it is obligatory for all countries which are in the field of this justice court. So I believe that some parents, they try to defend their kids, but as far as I know, no organized group at the moment.
Here in the UK, we're very pleased that we've now got the Detransitioners Advocacy Network run by Charlie Evans, the woman who came up with the wonderful ambulance chasing analogy about the trans movement. She has been contacted, she tells us, by thousands of detransitioners. It used to be said that there were hardly any detransitioners, and if you wanted to detransition, you hadn't really been trans in the first place. But the sheer numbers of people contacting the Detransitioners Advocacy Network prove that to have been a trans fiction. We've got very recently a trans widows organisation who have got a presence on social media, which is great. Maybe it's my ignorance, but I'm not aware of any specific groups for parents of trans kids. There is a lot of work being done in terms of challenging the schools work. People like the Safer Schools Alliance are very hot on challenging the ridiculous guidance that Stonewall puts out. And I know that Dr. Helen Saxby has a very big background in working with parents.
Rapid onset of gender dysphoria, parents of ROGD kids, and they're that's what their website is, parents of ROGDkids.com, and that can help people. There's a wonderful group called Peak Resilience, which is put together by 4 detransitioned young women, young lesbians. Oh, they're just gorgeous to listen to. They're like in their 20s now. And Peak, P-I-Q-U-E, Resilience, is their organization. There's a Child and Parental Rights Campaign, which is a non-profit public interest law firm founded to defend parents' rights to shield their children from the harms of gender identity ideology. And it's childparentrights.org. And there was the Kelsey Coalition, K-E-L-S-E-Y Coalition. It's gone dormant now after just 1 year. They said on their website, because of COVID-19, I'm not sure how that figures in, that they were formed to, and they've done some advocating, you'll see it, and had some articles about them in the news, which you can see on their website, kelseycoalition.org. And they were formed to expose the medical fraud of transitioning children. And there's a Walter Heyer, who lived for 8 years as a trans-identified male, and he detransed 25 years ago. And he does a great work in helping people wake up to the lie and transition, quote unquote, back to their actual sex. And his is called sexchangeregret.com.
I'm personally not aware of some kind of groups, or like, I'm for sure not vocal. They're not vocal, even there, if there is some. Maybe there are some, you know, like local small communities of parents, or just, I don't know, people like widows, etc., but not vocal. No one really talks about this in Ukraine. I saw thousands of TV shows, you know, like this talk shows, when there were like trans people coming out and talking about their experience, but I saw zero ones in Ukraine with trans widows, for example, or parents who experienced that. We have a reason for that, of course. They don't want to balance these views. They don't want to hear and see the other position, only if it's, again, vehemently aggressive, because that's a theater. That's just a theater play. They creating this illusion sometimes with balancing views when they have a talk show with religious, for example, religious people who are against all the liberal stuff, and LGBT community on the other side. And LGBT community is extremely polite, extremely coherent in their expressions and so on. And of course, the other side is very aggressive, very like in insane manner. That's the theater play. I guess the same exact situation happens in our parliament, because the politicians who are vehemently gender critical, they do this very aggressively and using hate speech and very inappropriate words and stuff. And maybe they are representing a sort of, you know, like a not very common and profitable ideology, kind of like Nazi, for example. So that's the theater play. They want to show you who you're not wishing to be. Because if you're critical, you're aggressive, you're Nazi.